Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
So I'm going to introduce you to the Elvis Presley. No, not that Elvis Presley, the Elvis Presley that I know, the one that sounds so much like Elvis and knows so much about him, and he does come and perform here in South Florida. So let me introduce everyone to Chris MacDonald, who does Memories of Elvis in Concert. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you very much for having me back.
Yep.
Feels like home.
Yeah, right, just like home. Well, I was saying to Chris before that probably Elvis is the most sought after, I guess sought after is the right word, singer of our, I would say, century. I mean, everyone wants to be an Elvis, and everyone does the best that they can. Of course, it's never the same, but I will say, of all the people I have seen, that Chris MacDonald really is the best. And I've even told him, I think you're better than he was. I know you'll say no.
Yeah, there's only one Elvis, and what I do is a tribute, to his life and music. And as you said, he definitely was considered the artist of the century, and his influences through that music still go on today, and even with some of the artists that came just after him that were so popular, the Beatles and the Stones and all the groups that came out in the 60s. I think John Lennon himself said, before Elvis, there was nothing. And that was a quote from John Lennon. So he influenced quite a few people, and the music, I think, touched everybody's lives in some way. If you saw the movies or heard the music on the radio or saw the early performances on television, and luckily all that stuff is preserved forever. It's you can see it on YouTube even now, which is great.
That's true. So I guess if we tried to analyze it, why was he so popular? I mean, there were a lot of other very, very good singers and dancers. What do you think it was? What was the magic?
He was different. He had a triple threat. He was a movie star and a television star, and he could sing and dance, and he had just a raw energy about him. And I think that's what did it. Back there when television first started, he was on those great shows, Ed Sullivan, Milton Berle, Steve Allen, Dorsey Brothers, and he was on TV during the golden age, and it was magic. It was just the right timing. No one had seen someone that sang and danced around like he did and moved to the music, and they were afraid of him at first. They used to cut him off at the waist on the Ed Sullivan Show. I think that helped that legendary status. When you have you're on TV and and the parents want to go ahead and cut the screen off at the waist because they're afraid he's doing something too sexy and moving around too much, and it shows you the the naivete and the way the time was during that 50s. And I think that combination of something new and different, something raw, something that fused the music of black artists, because that's what Elvis did. His roots were in the Mississippi Delta area, so he basically heard everything from gospel to rhythm and blues to country, and a lot of that was, at the time, the rhythm and blues and gospel was done by a lot of the black artists at the time, so his influences were there, and that's where he grew up. And then when you put that kind of a music style performed by a white person, and that's Elvis was able to capture that kind of feel, and I think that exposure on television at the time created kind of a cultural awakening. I think music helps change our perceptions on things a lot of times, and the music was brought out, people were dancing to it, and then all of a sudden you see everybody was dancing to it. White, black, red, green, brown, whatever. Everybody danced to the music, and that's what makes music universal. It's enjoyed by everybody, all races, all creeds, and anything that can bring people together is good.
I think you really explained it very well. I totally agree with what you said. And I often wonder, though, did he have a mentor? Did he have someone that was helping him to design all this, or was that just in his head?
That was what he had in his heart. He experienced all kinds of music growing up, so he had influences, from all those different genres. And then when Sam Phillips was an incredible, he recognized talent. And he was in Memphis. He had the Sun label records, Sun Studios. And when Elvis came in and performed, he didn't know exactly what to do at first, and then he had him come back in. Elvis went to record a song for his mother, and the secretary there took a liking to Elvis and loved what he sounded like. I said, there's something different. So Sam Phillips took a list, and they had him come into the studio and, start put stuff down. And next thing you know, That's All Right Mama, which was an old bluegrass song, but it wasn't bluegrass the way Elvis did it. So he took the song and just really made it interesting. And Mystery Train was another one they recorded there, which is incredible sound, and Blue Moon of Kentucky. So all those songs got recorded with Sam Phillips' ear to a very individual sound, because they only had a bass, a guitar, and then Elvis playing acoustic. And that sound they created in that studio, where they put the mics and what kind of effects were used on it and all that kind of stuff, it created this incredible sound that they thought, there was a bigger band playing and everything else. And originally, most people thought when they heard that Elvis was black. And that's what Sam Phillips actually said. He said if he could find a white artist that could sing and perform the rhythm and blues music, he'd make $1 million. And that was a quote from Sam Phillips himself. And he also discovered a lot of artists. Carl Perkins was there, Johnny Cash was there, Great Balls of Fire, Jerry Lee Lewis was there. So there was a lot of great artists that he developed after Elvis, and as a part of that whole situation. And he recorded black artists too. But this particular one, the influences too, you had B.B. King, which was very strong at the time too, in the 50s, and Elvis was a big fan of B.B. King. And it's just this whole melting pot of cultures and music styles, and that's how you get rock and roll. It was very different. It was something that took over the world after that.
And it didn't hurt having him so good looking.
There you go. See, that's another thing too. See, when you take television, as we know, is an incredible medium, and if you look good on it, things are going to happen. So he was the right-looking guy. He looked great. He had charisma. He had energy. And you put him on television, and then you tell him that you're going to cut him off at the waist because he's too sexy. Forget it.
That's a great explanation.
I mean, that right there creates a firestorm that that rock and roll is here to stay.
True.
and that's what occurred. And what we try to do with the show is, during the show when I'm performing, we perform the early 50s music, and I wear the early outfit, like the black and white shoes and the white jacket and black pants and shirt, and kind of do the early 50s moves. And we talk about what happened with cutting off to the waist in the Ed Sullivan Show. And then we move into the movies, because that's what got me into the music. I was not around to be able to see Elvis perform live, and before he was gone, so I basically got into it through my mom sitting me in front of the TV set watching all the old movies, scary movies, the beach movies, and then the Elvis movies would come on, and he'd beat up the bad guy, he'd win the race, and he had beautiful women in bikinis chasing him. And even as a little kid, that's cool. It's like there's something to aspire to. And so that's what got me into the music, and I kind of studied the information, and that's kind of what we do with the show. I talk about the music, I talk about what influences I had, and what Elvis did, his accomplishments. We do the material to the best of our ability. It's a big production band, 8-piece band, with a horn section and dancers. So, we go into the movie songs, we do those. We also do that black leather. I wear that outfit, and we do that 1968 comeback show. After he did all the movies, he got back on TV, and he wanted to show he could rock and roll, and really great stuff on there, too. We do that part of the show. we'll take a break, and then I'll come back in the white fringe 1970s outfit, and we do all those concert songs, Burnin' Love, C.C. Rider, Suspicious Minds. And actually, one of my favorite songs to do from that is Elvis's version of My Way. And that's one of my favorite songs to do, so we do that too. And The Wonder of You, and a tribute to the troops with American Trilogy. And we even cover some of the songs that Neil Diamond sang, Sweet Caroline, but Elvis loved doing that too, so we put that in the show. And it just shows the love that Elvis had of all types of music. And it's a true tribute. It's interactive. We want to have fun with everybody, and I give out scarves and Hawaiian leis, and we try to basically what the show is called. We want to share the memories of Elvis, and everybody has their own memories.
And I, of course, have interviewed this wonderful young man who is, of course, the Chris MacDonald, and you've heard his name, hopefully, a lot of times, and he does the memories of Elvis. And let me just give you a little information, because you'll want to buy tickets. I mean, we do these radio shows to entice you to hear something before. So this isn't just an ad. This is the real thing. And this is wonderful Chris MacDonald, and he'll be performing Saturday, March the 25th at 8 p.m. And I'll tell you where you're going to go. It's the Aventura Arts and Cultural Center. So it's down in Aventura. And, of course, a lot of you get the Miami Herald, and we are inserted in the Miami Herald, so hopefully you will be able to see the magazine there. But I just want to share that it's really, when you're there, you will be transformed, because I have seen him. I saw him at the Kravis Center, and I could not believe how good Chris MacDonald was, and he does just what he said. He gives out the scarves. I mean, men run up to him to get the scarves and the lace, which I thought was hysterical. The roses, I mean, all that you do. But he really sings so well. And I guess my question, I don't know if I asked this of you before, do you actually play the guitar?
I play a few chords. We do one particular song, Baby What You Want Me to Do, and we do that particular, that was from the 1968 comeback, so we'll do that sit-down part of the show. And that's kind of where he got together with those original guys that he started with, and they do like a little jam session. And they basically, it's to a couple guitars and vocals, and it's an unplugged version. So, and we do that part of the show in that 68 comeback.
Well, let me also give a way for people to call and get their tickets. For tickets, call 877-311-7469. I'll say that again. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. You should have a pencil right by your paper. Write the numbers down. It's 877-311-7469. And the website is aventuracenter.org. Aventura, that's Aventura, center.org. Usually his shows sell out, so I would suggest that you get on the phone when we finish. Don't get off the show yet, but when the show's finished here, just go and make that phone call, and please do plan. It's 8 o'clock Saturday, March 25th. I think you should bring your grandchildren. Bring your children.
It works for everybody.
That's right. It really does. And
really does.
He's such a great personality. And, of course, the one thing that you're going to love is the music is, you're going to clap to it. You're going to hit your foot on the floor to it.
That's what it's about.
It is. It's just great. Your energy is amazing, too. So I guess
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you get this because you believe in this, so.
I have such a good time. And the music itself is just puts a good feeling in my body. I mean, it just really does, and it makes you want to move. It makes you want to smile, and that's what I want everybody to know what it's about. It's a celebration, and that's what we treat it as. It's a tribute. It's a celebration of the life and music of the King of Rock and Roll.
Well, it's just seeing the Academy Awards the other night. Did he come to the Academy Awards? Did he get anything? I don't know that history.
When it comes to Academy Awards, he never received one. I don't think he presented one either. But that's an interesting situation. I'd have to see about if he attended them. I I don't remember hearing a lot about him doing that because he wasn't in the nomination. But some of his movies are basically kind of just fun. They're not meant to be dramatic roles.
Of course.
Not Academy Award-winning style, films or performances necessarily, but they were still fun, and they conveyed what Elvis was about. They conveyed the charisma, they conveyed the great music, a lot of fun, his sense of comedic timing, which he had very good. They're funny. He's very funny in a lot of the movies. And early on in a few of the movies, he actually dramatically was very good. King Creole, Jailhouse Rock, and he acted with some heavyweight actors in those movies, and he did a good job. His performances were good.
So he's certainly... I know what I wanted to talk to you about. I heard on the news that they're building something across from his home. Tell us about that.
Yeah. What they did is they've basically renovated what used to be the plaza and the hotel. I did 7 years for Elvis Presley Enterprises there at the Heartbreak Hotel, doing every January and every August under a contract with them. I did 7 years for them. This particular area now, that whole area, the Heartbreak and the plaza and all that, it's been changed into a huge, big complex that is supposed to be incredible. Big shops and restaurants and a new hotel, and it's basically expanded that whole area directly across from Graceland, where they had all the museums and other activities that you can do before you go across to see the home. And it's fantastic. It's going to be something that is going to be a great destination for people.
Oh, well, that's excellent. I mean, I couldn't wait to talk to you because I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah. It's an expansion that was needed for a long time.
And
really
so it makes money. I mean, and it has to make money to be able to keep up, the grounds and everything else it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. This new company that purchased the Elvis Presley Enterprises, they really want to expand it, and things that they were looking to do, probably quite a while ago, but we had the economic crash that affected things for quite some time. And I believe now that this new company is doing stuff. I think they want to expand the brand.
And do they know about you?
We should be working on things.
Right. I hope so.
We should be working on things. I mean, I had the original ownership that Elvis Presley Enterprises. A great honor to be approved and perform there for them and for 7 years. So that's something I'll always have. But you never know. This looks very cool.
Yeah, that's
looks
good.
Very cool.
Well, I'm glad to see that happening. It's interesting to see kids that didn't know Elvis Presley, and yet we have all this other kind of music, but there's something about his music that still excites the new kid who is just discovering all this music. And I would be interesting to talk with one of them and ask them, well, why do you like this music? It's not old-fashioned. See, some of the other music they don't listen to because it's old-fashioned.
Sure.
But this is never figured to be old-fashioned, is it?
No, what it is some of that, the early rock and roll, because of the fact that it did influence artists like the Beatles and the Stones and, you name it, all the way up to the present, and also with country music. Today's country music, there's still a lot of influences from the rockabilly. And I think that rockabilly style of that early rock and roll kind of is a genre, it's a genre of its own, and it does attract people that like kind of an energy, a purity and an energy of music, and that's kind of what they get into first. A lot of them are attracted to the early part of the rock and roll music, the early stuff, and that fuse the cultures, rhythm and blues and gospel and country. And then, of course, once you start listening to that, you hear some of the stuff he did also all the way through the 70s. And he had some great recordings in the 70s in Nashville of country classics that I actually will probably end up eventually doing a specialty kind of show of Elvis country music. And we're working on project like that.
So
to do some of the great country songs, classics.
So that's my other question. Do you have DVDs and
Yes.
CDs? You do?
Yes. Yeah, we have a full production DVD with DJ Fontana, Elvis's original drummer, did the show with us at Parker Playhouse. We have a DVD from Broward Center, and we also have on iTunes and Google Play, they can download my music too, the live CDs, plus I have some country cover songs and a holiday CD, a bunch of other stuff, and that's all on iTunes and Google Play. They can download it, or we can get CDs on the website, which is chriselvis.com.
chriselvis.com?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So we want everybody to go, first of all, to really enjoy what we've been talking about, even though Chris has a very nice voice now, talking on the phone, over the airwaves. You need to really see him in action, because he not only has that great voice and he has the great look, but he really can dance. I mean, actually, if you shut your eyes, it's like, there's Elvis. He just came back.
Well, I try to move around. I try to have fun, and it's about the music. That's what it's about, and it's about that performance. I think Elvis's greatest ability was that he was able to connect with his audience with his recordings and his live performances. There was a direct connection between the music and the people listening to it, and him delivering that to people. And if you have that connection, you can do anything. Yeah,
I don't think. Can you think of another person that's like Elvis who's come to our world?
Well, I think there's only one of a kind when it comes to Elvis. I mean, just kind of the way he was, his personality, and the timing and everything. And we've got great artists out there. Frank Sinatra, we mentioned, was an incredible entertainer too.
Of course.
There's great entertainers, and Barbra Streisand, of course, is a wonderful entertainer and made connections. But Elvis was a different entity. I mean, and then he left us at 42 years old.
Yeah, that was just terrible.
He was a burning star that burned out.
Yeah, he could have had such a lifetime.
Yeah.
It is.
That tragedy also kind of adds to the legend too. He was a tragic, heroic figure that didn't end up the way that everybody wanted. But it is a part of his story. That really makes it something interesting and tragic, but incredibly. The talent was there. Talent was there, and everybody could see it. And at only 42 years old, he left people wanting more.
Mm-hmm. Is his gravesite there at Graceland? Is that where he's buried?
That's where they have the
cremation.
The actual enclosure. And,
they do.
They have the stone, and they have an area there that you can actually visit and pay your respects to. It's part of the actual destination. When you get there, you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, I would think that a lot of people, and I know you've also seen some of these weird magazines that say Elvis spotted.
Everybody wants to see him again. So everybody's looking for him, and see, that's another thing too that adds to that legendary status. The Elvis sightings, because it puts him in the category of like Bigfoot. It's like
That's funny.
He's like he's not only is he a legend, he's a fable. At the same time, and he's that it's the whole thing wrapped up. He's a pop culture icon, and that's the way you got to look at it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's funny. So everybody, again, I'm going to repeat this because it's really important. Write this number down to order tickets, and don't wait. Order them now. Get there. Take your family. Take some friends. You'll just enjoy it. Then have an Elvis dinner afterwards. And so it's 877-311-7469. That's 877-311-7469. And you can get on the web. You can order your tickets that way if you don't want to just do it through the call. And it's AventuraCenter.org. And when you get on that, they'll then they have other shows going too, but just find the one that's called Memories of Elvis in concert, and it's Saturday, March 25th at 8 o'clock at night. And just be prepared for the best darn show you've probably seen, maybe even in your lifetime, because, I mean, you don't even have to be an Elvis fan. I have to say this, that there are people, who maybe look down at Elvis because maybe they like concerts of violins and other kinds of things. But it doesn't matter. He is so stimulating.
Thank you very
of course,
much.
it's right. It's Chris. I always say it's Elvis. Well, Chris is very stimulating, and he's very friendly. The one thing that you do show, and I think that was one of the things that Elvis had, very humble. You're very humble as Elvis portrayed it.
I am grateful to be able to do this, and to have people enjoy the show and have fun and walk out of the theater smiling. That is my greatest reward. I mean, I love it. I want them to have fun. I want you to relive your memories and just have a good time. And if you can do that, what's that phrase? People may forget what you say, they may forget what you do, but they never forget the way you make them feel.
That's true. So goodbye, Mr. Elvis. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you again, Chris. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.